Oh, the Tories are in trouble. Kemi Badenoch, the UK's Business and Trade Secretary, said at the Conservative Party conference that there is a zero chance of a free trade agreement with the United States under President Joe Biden's administration. She cited Biden's attitude to such deals, noting that he has frozen FTA talks with countries including Britain. Well, not all of them, but Britain. Badenoch said that there would be other opportunities for cooperation between the UK and US, such as over critical minerals and with individual states. However, she made it clear that a comprehensive FTA is not on the cards under Biden. Badenoch's comments were met with mixed reactions. Some welcomed her honesty and realism, while others expressed disappointment. However, her comments reflect the reality that Biden has placed a much lower priority on FTAs than his predecessor Donald Trump, especially with the UK. It's worth noting that Biden has said that he's open to negotiating trade deals with individual countries, but only if they meet his high standards on issues such as labor and environmental protection. This is likely to make it difficult to reach a deal with the UK, given that the UK government has been accused of watering down its own standards in these areas since Brexit. And there are a number of reasons why President Biden has not prioritized a trade deal with the UK. The Biden administration's focus on domestic issues is one point. Biden's top priorities are the economy, infrastructure, and climate change. He has said that he wants to focus on these issues before negotiating new trade deals. Then there's the Biden administration's concerns about UK trade policy. The Biden administration has expressed concerns about the UK's decision to lower its standards on issues such as labor and environmental protection since Brexit. And the administration is also concerned about the UK's decision to unilaterally suspend parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol, which is part of the Brexit deal. That it has changed a bit now, but the threat was enough. The Biden administration's skepticism about the benefits of free trade agreements is another reason. Biden has said that he is not opposed to trade deals, but that he wants to make sure that they are fair to American workers and businesses. He has also said that he is concerned that some trade deals have led to job losses in the United States. In addition to these general factors, there are also some specific issues that are making it difficult to negotiate a UK-US trade deal. For example, the UK government is reluctant to open up its agricultural market to US products, while the Biden administration is reluctant to reduce tariffs on UK steel and aluminum. Overall, it's clear that the Biden administration is not in a hurry to negotiate a trade deal with the UK. And there are a number of factors that are making it difficult to reach a deal, and the Biden administration, overall, as I said, has other priorities. It's also worth noting that there is some opposition to a UK-US trade deal from within the Biden administration. Some Democrats are concerned that such a deal would benefit large corporations at the expense of American workers. And the Northern Ireland Protocol, that was a part of the Brexit deal that was agreed between the UK and the EU in December 2020, is an issue. The protocol was designed to avoid a hard border between Northern Ireland and the rest of Ireland, which is an EU member state. The protocol works by creating a trade border between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK. And this means that goods moving from Great Britain to Northern Ireland have to undergo customs checks. The protocol has been controversial, with unionists in Northern Ireland arguing that it creates a trade border between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK and undermines Northern Ireland's place in the UK. The Biden administration has expressed concerns about the UK's decision at the time to unilaterally suspend parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol, as I said, and the administration has said that this could undermine the Good Friday Agreement, which is a peace agreement that brought an end to the conflict in Northern Ireland. And the Biden administration has also said that it will not negotiate a trade deal with the UK until the issue of the Northern Ireland Protocol is completely resolved. This is because the Biden administration sees the Good Friday Agreement as a cornerstone of peace and stability in Northern Ireland. In short, the Northern Ireland Protocol is a major sticking point in the negotiations between the UK and the US over a trade deal. The Biden administration is concerned that the UK's decision to unilaterally suspend parts of the protocol would undermine the Good Friday Agreement. As a result, the Biden administration has said that it will not negotiate a trade deal with the UK until this issue is fully resolved. It is important to note that the UK government has said that it is committed to finding a solution to the issue of the Northern Ireland Protocol, just saying Windsor Framework. However, the UK government has also said that it will not hesitate to unilaterally take action to protect Northern Ireland's interests if necessary. And this has led to uncertainty about the future of the protocol and has made it difficult for the UK and the US to negotiate at all. Overall, the UK has lost access to trade deals with over 70 countries as a result of leaving the EU. This is because the UK was automatically part of any trade deal that the EU had negotiated with another country, and we're talking about 700 deals here. And when the UK left the EU, it also left the EU single market and customs union, which meant that it was no longer covered by these trade deals. The UK government has since negotiated new trade deals with some of these countries, but they are not always as comprehensive as the trade deals that the UK had when it was an EU member state. For example, the UK's trade deal with Japan is less generous than the trade deal that the EU has with Japan. In addition, the UK's trade with the EU has decreased since Brexit. This is because there are now more barriers to trade between the UK and the EU, such as tariffs and customs checks, although the British side hasn't introduced them, still not. Overall, it's clear that the UK has lost out on trade deals and trade with the EU as a result of Brexit. However, it's important to note that the full impact of Brexit on the UK's trade is still being assessed, and there are still some things that have not happened. There is a general election next year, and the Tories have been trailing Labour in the polls by almost 20 percentage points for months. The party conference, which I started the video with, which has been taking place since Sunday in Manchester in Northern England, was characterized by a desperate attempt to get the Tories out of the bottom of the polls and prepare them for the coming elections. Instead of agreement and let's go, there was more of a bad mood and government fatigue. And the Telegraph has already summarized this. This year's Conservative Party conference looks like an endlessly running sitcom that is struggling through its final season. There were also reports of almost empty delegate benches. The Tory era will probably end after 14 years in 2024. Nevertheless, Sunak hopes to be able to get the party out of the bottom of the polls. His own political survival also depends on this. This should be achieved by moving away from climate targets. A car-friendly policy is intended to take the wind out of Labour's sails, especially in the cities. The postponement of the phase-out of fossil fuels, which was announced weeks ago, is intended to counteract inflation, and delaying the ban on new registrations of internal combustion engines should also bring in votes. In July, the Conservatives narrowly and surprisingly managed to hold on to a seat in the by-election in North East London. And this success was also made possible by the levy on high-emission vehicles introduced by Labour Mayor Sadiq Khan, although it was invented by Johnson. Since then, the strategy has been used by the Tories as a blueprint for how they might still win the 2024 general election. This policy was reiterated at the party conference in Manchester as well, and a move away from 30 km/h speed limits in cities was also announced. In addition to environmental policy, the most important topics were social policy, migration, and the war in Ukraine. With regards to the first two, the party has once again emphasized that it would like to position itself even further to the right. In his speech on Monday, Chancellor of the Exchequer Jeremy Hunt opened a new front: workers against strikers. He announced a social reform that will increase unemployment benefits from 2024, as the Financial Times reported, but will impose strict social welfare sanctions. Oh no, it was shirkers, not strikers. In a populist manner, he raved about people who left the labor market in order to lead a life with social benefits. The online platform Labour List, which is close to the opposition party, then reported on the harassment that was already occurring, which is leading to the reduction or even loss of social benefits. For example, a woman had her benefits reduced because she had to cancel an appointment at the employment office at the last minute. It was the first son's day at preschool, and a friend who was supposed to pick him up cancelled at short notice. And poor bus connections then meant that she couldn't make it from the school to the office on time. However, there was no firm criticism of the new plans from Labour itself. There were signs of a surprising turn in Ukraine policy, at least. New Defense Secretary Grant Shapps told the Sunday Telegraph at the start of the conference that he planned to increase defense spending and train Ukrainian soldiers in Ukraine instead of Great Britain. The government in London was one of the first to offer material assistance to the Ukrainian army. According to the company's own information, 20,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been trained so far. But on the way to the opening of the party conference, Sunak put a stop to his defense minister's plans. There were a lot of threats from Russia. During a stopover in Burnley, he told the Press Association journalists, "Under no circumstances will British soldiers operate in Ukraine as long as the current war is ongoing." Shapps' statements were misreported. What he would have meant was that it would be a long-term option to no longer train soldiers abroad but in Ukraine. But that is not currently on the agenda. The rapid distancing from Shapps' plans to draw Britain further into direct military conflict with Russia could indicate a slow U-turn in London's Ukraine policy. As in other countries, approval of the billions spent to Kiev on the war is declining, and fewer people believe Sunak that Russia is to be blamed for the price increases. So there was a lot going on there, but the main topic of the trade deal is a very decisive one. If you want to see another video right now, the next one is right here in the end screen. And if you are interested in Star Trek, visit me on the new Outside Views STFC channel that is doing really well. I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.